spin that back. This is Rick.
I'm Eric.
And this is our review of Avengers Age of Ultron, written and directed by Joss Whedon.
And starring
James Spader
starring
as Ultron.
Yeah, James Spader, Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, and Aaron Taylor Johnson as Quicksilver. All the motherfuckers from the last Avengers movie.
Yeah, you already know who's in it. You want me to break down the plot first?
Bitch, what the fuck is it to break down? This is the same shit from every movie. Some motherfucker tries to destroy the world, and the Avengers gotta save it. Basically, there. It's
pretty much. The Avengers are out to save the world again from Ultron this time.
It's like it's same basic plot as the first Avengers film, except now you have a different villain. But I mean, Ultron, he was. I really liked him as a villain. I think that's like one of the things. Like, even though I really like Guardians of the Galaxy, it was lacking like a good villain.
Yeah, that's sort of been the knock on the some of the Marvel movies is that. I mean, besides Loki, I mean, there really hadn't been.
Well, the Winter Soldier, I guess. And the Winter Soldier was cool. But besides that, I mean, there really hasn't been any, at least not any significant ones that made like that big of an impact on the audience.
He brought in enough of a menacing element, but also he was funny in that dry James Spader sort of way.
Something a little different from your typical type of the villain.
Tony Stark uses Loki's scepter to enhance like a brand new AI developed from what he built off of Jarvis.
It was initially intended to be used to protect the world when the Avengers weren't around. Something extra security for the population on Earth.
Yeah.
But of course, everything goes wrong, and the AI turns on the creator.
And the result is Ultron. The movie's almost 2.5 hours, so and still it doesn't feel like Joss Whedon was able to pack everything into this movie.
So much.
Yeah, so it just seemed. I know some of the early criticism I heard was that they just sort of jump into Ultron's character. Like, you don't really get that sort of sense of motivation of why he's doing the things that he does. Like, why is it that he's evil? I mean,
introduce him, and then all of a sudden he's,
they just didn't give his character enough time to develop. And I heard it's gonna be a longer cut of the movie.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, at least we're gonna get that eventually.
Joss Whedon said that he wanted this movie. Him and Kevin Feige had said, we need this movie to be shorter than the first one. I think it was short by 1 minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to do?
Yeah, I think so.
That's the problem with sequels, is that like most of the time the sequel is longer than like the original, and they just try to do like way too many things with it, which I think that's one of the problems with this one.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many characters that we're introduced to, like new ones, and like a bunch of shit happens, and you got backstory from one side, and things going on over here with the Hulk and Black Widow. They always need to throw a love story in there. It just felt kind of weird in some parts.
I sort of didn't buy that whole romance between Hulk and Black Widow. But,
trying to humanize Hulk a little more. I mean, that's the reason why they're doing it.
Hawkeye didn't get enough to do in the first one because his character's a lot more fleshed out
in this one.
In this one. So, I mean, that's cool. He gets a little more screen time. I mean, this is the end of phase 2, so it's like everything that happened from the end of Avengers to this one. You can just see like they're just building up all these storylines, that some stuff gets tied up in this one, and then you could tell other stuff that they leave so they can build off of into phase 3.
Basically in the same movie, which, I mean, for most people, they don't mind it. They just like seeing, a bunch of action.
The Hulk and
that scene was cool.
Hulk and Hulk's
and the Hulkbuster.
The Hulkbuster.
That was a cool scene.
That was
scene was
really
sick.
dope. Yeah.
That just seems like, okay, we've seen this. It's just going through another phase with the new villain. Which, I mean, it's cool. They got to try to do something different. But, I mean, it's not going to catch that awe that people had with the first Avengers movie. And that's because we had already seen it before. So, it's just like they introduce new characters, but it's basically the same type of film. Leading up to Infinity War, at least, everything's going to come, to a big climax, tying in all of these movies. We got Civil War coming up. We got the Guardians of the Galaxy film. So many things, but you can tell it's finally leading up to that huge event. That's probably going to be like the climax of the whole entire cinematic universe.
I mean, I don't want to get into the, it's not better than part 1. I mean, I guess, I do like the first one more.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's not to take anything away from this one. I mean,
it's really good.
It's fun. And if you saw the first one, you're going to watch this one.
Watch this one.
It seemed like everything is a comic book movie now. Even watching the trailers for before this one, it's like, it's all comic book movies. But my sort of defense to that is, I mean, if they're good, then what does it really matter?
The Marvel ones have all been good.
Thor, I wasn't a big fan of the first Thor.
Iron Man 2 wasn't all that great. I mean, I don't think they've really released a bad movie.
No,
they haven't done any bad, a bad one. There's been some better than others, but not a bad one.
Marvel still, like, they got that track record going. I don't know how they're doing it. It just seems like, I mean, how many movies are they in now in the
12th
MCU?
One or 11? No, it's the 12th one.
Is it really?
I think it was the 12th one.
Marvel's track record's been good so far, so I mean, no reason to believe that they won't give us something good. moving on to phase 3 now.
For me, I mean, it's not as great as the first one, but I don't want to take anything away from it. I mean, I think it's still a good movie. It's still fun to watch. And overall,
I like it a lot.
I'm in the same boat. I like this movie. I mean, I can't say I loved it. It didn't have that same sort of appeal that the first one did. All that being said, I still had fun, and I give it...
I like it a lot.
Let us know what you think about this movie and the Marvel Universe leading into phase 3. Like our video, comment, subscribe, share, and we'll catch you on the next one.